And then when that was finished, he said, and now you must stay for lunch. So 20 minutes ended up as 3 hours. And I sat on this table, a great big long table in the patriarchal dining room, with His Old Holiness at one end, with a big gold medal and a great hat on his head. And all down the side were metropolitans and bishops of the Orthodox Church, all with medals and hats. There was I sitting at the end, and the crockery had the patriarchal coat of arms in gold. And I thought, well, it's Idris, you've come a long way, Idris, you're sitting here. By the time we finished, I said to him, All Holiness, I said, because I was living in Damascus at the time, I said, I brought you a gift. Now, in Egypt, we have little wooden boxes made of mother of pearl and wood, and they're very beautiful gifts. In Damascus, they have the same wooden boxes, but there's no mother of pearl. It's different swirling Arabic and different colors of wood. You've seen them. I've seen them in shops in Singapore, in fact. Beautiful wooden boxes. So what I did was I brought a box and I put in it some of my books, some of the little books. And there was a gap between the books and the box. So I stuffed the gap with chocolates. So I closed the book and I said, Oh, Holiness, I have a gift. Oh, you didn't need to bring me a gift. I said, no, I have a gift. I hope you have a very sweet tooth. Because Islam is very sweet. And he said, oh, can we eat them now? He said, I said, no, but there's new, they're going to eat. And as I was leaving, this man, he's the head of 350 million Greek Orthodox Christians. As we were leaving, he kissed me on both cheeks and he said, pray for me. And I said to him, pray for me. I thought he showed great humility, a man of such importance, and of such deep spirituality and prayer that would say, pray for me. And I left, and the next day his secretary, the very Reverend Archimandrite Elpidiphorus Lambriniades, Chief Secretary of the Holy and Sacred Synod of the Orthodox Church, added me as a friend on Facebook. We've been Facebook friends ever since, and he's now a bishop. He's now Metropolitan Elpidiphorus of Bursa. Well, yesterday I got an email asking me to go to the Fana, to the Palace and the Gospels next week. And I said, I wrote back, I said, you honor me, I'll be in Sarawak next week, but can we change it to the week after? Because I'm going to talk, I'll tell you what I'm going to talk about later on. But that meeting with the patriarch, it began something very special. Before then, I'd never known anything about the Orthodox Church, really. Now, wherever I go, I meet Orthodox bishops. And did you know that Singapore has just had a new metropolitan appointed from Hong Kong? The metropolitan, I can't remember his name, of Singapore. He's the head of the Greek Orthodox Church in these lands around here. The result of that meeting, this is dialogue. Interfaith dialogue. What did we talk about? Nothing really. We didn't really talk about anything. We drank tea, and we said nice things, and we didn't really talk about anything important. But we talked. That's what was important. We talked. When I went to the United States soon after, I wanted to meet. I was visiting Detroit, things talked in Detroit, and I saw on the internet there was a Metropolitan Archbishop, Metropolitan Nicholas of Detroit. So I looked for his contact details, couldn't find any. So I went to my Facebook friend and said, do you have any contact details for me to meet this man? Consider it done, he said. And I went to meet Metropolitan Nicholas, and I met the Metropolitan Yakovs of Chicago. And when I was in New York, I met Archbishop Demetrios of America, the head of the Greek Orthodox Church in the United States. And I went to his very beautiful office on Fifth Avenue. I was taken up to the office itself, and there he was waiting for me. And he said, when we sat down with tea ready to be drunk, he said to me, "Oh, your fame goes before you, Mr. Idris." I said, "How so, sir? We've never met before." He said, "The patriarch telephoned me and told me to meet you and to welcome you." See, that's dialogue. That's what dialogue is. That's what that. When I was in London a month ago, months now, I made a television program about my journey to Islam with Press TV. It's an Iranian channel based in London. And so it's the story of my journey to Islam. And because I'm very heavily involved in interfaith work, I thought it would be nice to have in the program a little bit about the interfaith part of my work. So I picked up the telephone and I spoke to Archbishop Gregorios of Thyatira and Great Britain, the head of the Orthodox Church in Britain, who I've met many times and drunk lots of tea and taken many boxes of chocolates because Islam is very sweet. And I said to him, Your Eminence, I'm coming to London tomorrow. Can I come and see you? Oh, of course you can come. And I said, I'd like to bring a camera crew with me because we're making a television program about my work. Come, he said. So if you watch the program, it's on YouTube. You'll find it somewhere. If you go to Press TV, or it's on Idris Tawfiq page on Facebook. Idris Tawfiq page, and you'll find this program. And in it, you've got this Archbishop talking about me and the work I do to encourage reconciliation and friendship between religions. I mean, that's extraordinary. I realized that talking to Muslims, even the very idea of talking to people of other faiths is you feel a bit awkward. You know, I'll be honest and say, and I'm saying it to a camera, when I was in Istanbul, I also went to meet the chief rabbi of Turkey. And I felt a bit awkward meeting him. Chief rabbi, Israel, But I went with, and again we had a very honest love. At the beginning I said, Sir, you honor me, you honor all Muslims. If you think I'm here to support Israel, or what's happening to my brothers and sisters in Palestine, I have to leave because we've got nothing to talk about. But if as men of faith we can talk about the one God in whom we believe, I believe there's a lot we can say. And he took me by the arm and he said, You're very wise, these things. And we talked for an hour. We talked honestly. Because interfaith dialogue has to be honest, or it's just pretending. We can't just pretend we have no differences. We believe the opposite of what some of these people will believe, the opposite. So we can't pretend we don't. What we must do is to be honest. If we're not that honest, we just end up coming out with pious words, and the world continues to kill itself. We need to be honest. Well, that's a funny story. When I was in Switzerland, makes me sound like some kind of international. I was in Switzerland last week at the invitation of the General Secretary of the World Council of Churches. And while I was there, I visited the Orthodox Center at Chambéry near Geneva. And I met a bishop there, an Orthodox bishop in his 80s. And a very nice old man, but when he learned I used to be a Catholic priest, he sat upright, and I could see he didn't like it. And for the next 10 minutes or so, he told me off, really, for what a great mistake I'd made in my life, telling me that really I should be a Christian and so on. But my response, I didn't get worked up, because I had great respect for his years to start with. And I was sufficiently comfortable with myself that what he had to say didn't threaten me in any way anyway. So I listened. And he could see I wasn't getting angry, and I wasn't, replying or arguing. So he calmed down a bit more, and we carried on our discussion. And towards the end, he said to me, You're not Muslim. I said to him, What do you mean I'm not Muslim? He said, You're too nice. He said, Muslims are terrorists. They're fanatics and extremists. You couldn't possibly be Muslim. Now, in one sense, I was very pleased, but I was saddened as well that he should say that, and he should think that. But we parted as friends. So we said, well, he said frank things. I didn't really say any frank things at all. But we parted as friends. Being with Archbishop Demetrios, he told me something that I learned. And the important thing is we can learn from people of faith. Let's not be so puffed up with our own importance to think that we can't learn from other people. I said last night, and I mean it with all my heart, as people of faith, we should embrace goodness wherever it is to be found. Goodness doesn't come from the shaitan. Goodness comes from God. It comes from Allah. So wherever we see goodness, we should embrace it. And the Archbishop told me something I've never forgotten, and I use it ever since. He was telling me the day after 9/11 in New York, he went down to ground zero as the Archbishop of America to pray for the souls of those people who died so tragically. And the press all gathered around him and started shouting, "Archbishop, doesn't this shake your faith, what happened yesterday? You know, where's your God that he would allow such a thing?" And his response was very beautiful. He said, "Yesterday, on this spot, we saw an explosion of evil where innocent people died. Today," he said, "look around you. There are Jews and Christians and Muslims and Hindus and people with no religion. Today we have seen an explosion of love. That these people have come together to support one another in their distress." And I've never forgot that. You know, we can disagree with him on the nature of Jesus, peace be upon him. You know, I can tell him with utter certainty that Jesus was not divine, that he didn't die on the cross to save mankind from sin, that he didn't rise on the third day. I can say that. Once I'm his friend, I can say it. If I'm not his friend, he'd be very offended by such words. So always be very careful what you're saying to people, because you're criticizing their most deeply held. It's like criticizing someone's mother. You can't do that. Not until you know them really well, and even then you've got to be careful. So I learned on that day with the Archbishop something very important. Also, another episode in New York, that same visit, where I was staying in upstate New York, there was a mosque, and there was a case before the courts of 4 young men, Muslims. They just got out of prison, 4 black men, just got out of prison, and very inadequate, no education, not much going to them at all, really. And they'd gone to the local mosque, and this very wealthy man had befriended them. And he'd said to them, "Brothers, you know, we must support one another as Muslims, we must stick together, and I'll be here for you, and I'll help you." And he used to drive them around in his big fancy limousine and take them to dinners. And after some months, when they liked him and he befriended them, he said to them, "You know, brothers, we really should do something against those people who harm Muslims. We should really do something against them." And between the 5 of them, they planned to blow up 2 Jewish synagogues in New York City and an Air Force base close by. And on the day of the attack, he supplied them with fake explosives. He was an FBI agent. He supplied them with fake, and off they went to blow the things up, and they were arrested. And I think that they've been in prison since. But living near the mosque, first thing I did was I went to see the imam and to talk to him and condemn, first of all, any kind of violence against civilians as being utterly against Islam. But also to condemn underhand tricks. You know, as Muslim, Islam, I said yesterday, Islam is beautiful and gentle and sweet, but we're not to be taken for fools. And it needed to be said very strongly that this is not acceptable. So I went to the mosque first. The second thing I went was I went to one of the synagogues, and I had lunch with the 2 rabbis who were going to be blown up. And again, I said to them at the start, you know, if you think I'm here to support Zionism or the so-called Israel, well, you know, I'll go. But I've come as a man of faith to share faith with you and we talked, and we had a very good, honest talk. And at the end I said, you know, how did you feel? How did you feel through this episode? And the main rabbi, he said to me, well, there were 2 feelings. The first one, he said, was that people should hate us so much that they'd want to see us in body bags outside on the pavement. That was a very horrible feeling. But he said the second feeling was even stronger. The second feeling was the next day, when all the imams of all the mosques in New York came to us to express their solidarity with us and to pray with us. And he said, we really felt supported and strong in our faith, that other men of faith could do that. I hope you're getting the picture, the jigsaw I'm trying to build up, you know, of what's possible. Another talk I gave was in Edinburgh, Scotland. And the Anglican Bishop of Edinburgh, Bishop Brian Smith, we gave a talk together. And the talk was called Muslims, Christians and the Real Jesus. And the audience was made up of Christians and Muslims. And the bishop spoke about Jesus, peace be upon him. And I spoke about Jesus, peace be upon him. And within a minute, it was obvious to everyone we totally disagreed. Totally disagreed. And at the end, we said in front of the audience, well, we totally disagree, don't we? Let's go and have lunch now. It's possible for people of faith. This is faith, it's a gift from God, it's a gift from the Almighty. I can say with humility to the bishop that I just met and had dinner with, I can say, you're a man of faith, but I believe you misunderstand the revelation. That through an exaggerated love for Jesus, you've come to misunderstand who he was. And when I was talking about the Quran, I had to keep saying to him, I don't want to offend you by saying this, but... And he said, no, I want to hear what Muslims believe and teachers. And we spoke honestly. The Archbishop of Wales, I quoted something from him last night. The Anglican Archbishop of Wales, Dr. Barry Morgan, went to see him. And I told him last night, those of you who are here, he gave me a book that he'd written about the Anglican Welsh poet, Idris Thomas, who wrote many poems about God and about faith, about belief. And in one of his poems he writes, we have over-furnished our faith. Our churches, and I put in brackets, our mosques, our churches are as limousines in the procession towards heaven. In wanting to be loyal and feel secure, we have often over-furnished our faith. And as I said yesterday, Islam is very, very simple. And not through any bad intention, we've made it so complicated that the world is crying out for Allah. The people who need Allah in their lives and fill that gap with drink. You can see them out on the street. It's not drink they want, it's Allah they want. But they don't know, no one's told them about Allah. It's not football, it's not hooliganism that football hooligans want, it's Allah. St. Thomas Aquinas, a saint of the Middle Ages in the Catholic Church, he taught so in Italian, all roads lead to Rome. Because in the olden days, Rome was at the center of a great empire, and all the roads literally led to Rome. Okay? And Muslims, all roads go to Rome, all roads lead to when you're getting on the network to go home, you're not really going to that destination. Your real destination is heaven. Because everything in this life is leading you there. That's where you're going to. You're going there in the end. And going right or left when you leave this building is only part of your journey to heaven. You understand? So whatever we do, whatever path we take, we're journeying. All roads lead to Allah. And we need to be very humble when we're meeting other people of faith, because their journey too is leading them to the inevitable. It's leading to the final judgment. And one sister asked last night, it's a very important question, she said, who will go to heaven, a good Christian or a bad Muslim? And I said, really, sister, I don't know. None of us has been appointed a judge over anyone else. None of us has been given tickets to hand out to heaven or to hell. And what does the Muslim mean? We could have a Muslim, man's been born Muslim, but he doesn't pray. No one knows he doesn't pray. He drinks, but no one knows he drinks. And he's not prayed for 20 years. Is he a Muslim? I don't think he is. Will he go to heaven? I don't know. So life isn't quite as black and white as we'd like it to be. You know, and there might be some good person. I said last night, the message of Christianity won't save anyone because it's mistaken. But it could be that because someone's life is good, and they're prayerful and kind and honest, there's Allah Almighty, the Creator of the heavens and the earth and everything in between, rewards who He wills and punishes who He wills. It's up to Him to decide, not for us. So you know, it would be easier to say, yes, this group will go to heaven, they'll go to hell, they're kuffar, they're this. Life isn't as simple as that. You know, life has taught me anything. It's that nothing is ever quite what it seems. You know? And we've no place to be judging people because we don't know what's going on in their lives. We just don't know. You don't know. I thought, you know, you all think, oh, what a nice man. You don't know whether I'm a nice man. That's just the image I'm giving you. So we can't judge people. I am a nice man. But you know, we make judgments about people by the way they look, or by the things that they say, or by labels attached to them. And really we know nothing about them. As I said last night, Allah Almighty tells us, verily we have created man in the best of molds. He doesn't say, verily we've created Muslims in the best of molds. Verily we have created man in the best of molds. And the last words of that beautiful, those beautiful verses we heard were, their words will be, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise be to Allah, the Lord of all the worlds. Not the Lord of Muslims, it doesn't say that anywhere. The Lord of all the worlds. You know, and as Muslims we have a great duty to tell the world about Islam. Believing that Islam is the fullness of revelation, the final message. We're not called either. Some people think, you know, tomorrow we're having a Dawah workshop, tomorrow morning and Sunday morning, for youth. So if you're youth, you can come to it. I don't know what the cut-off point is. But I think there are still places if the organisers want more people to come to the Dawah workshop. But some Muslims, you know, they think that somehow we're called to convert the whole world to Islam. Guess what? We're not. We're not. Why? Because Allah tells us that there are some people who will never be Muslim. And He wouldn't call us to failure. He wouldn't call us to convert everyone if He's already told us not everyone will be Muslim. So that's not what we're called to do. We're called with wise words and beautiful preaching to tell the world about Islam. And you know, we need to be very careful. This word dawah and our desire to tell people about Islam, we need to ask ourselves, who are we doing this for, by the way? Are we doing it for Allah's sake? Are our motives pure? Or are we doing it for another reason? Are we doing it to make ourselves feel good? That's not a pure motive. You know, are we doing it because the one we're calling, she's quite gorgeous, really. That's why we're calling her, but the ugly one, we never go and tell them about Islam. So we need to think about our motives very clearly. Wise word, was that a card I was shown? Was I shown a card then or not? Someone was just writing very good. Wise words and beautiful preaching. We need to keep our message very simple in speaking to our Christian and Jewish and other faiths, our friends. And we can very happily people sing a happy Chinese New Year. No lion dancing. We can wish them, no problem. You know, some people, one of the problems is in our desire to be loyal, you know, in our misunderstanding of what it really is to be loyal to Islam. Sometimes we're loyal to the wrong things. And it turns out as tribalism rather than faith. You know, tribes fight each other. People of faith don't fight each other. There's nothing in Christianity that says you must fight Muslims. There's nothing in the Quran tells us, you know, we must fight and kill Christians. We're called to respect and listen and be very appreciative of goodness. So, for example, some Muslims get worked up Christmas time Are we allowed, it's like the picture I told you about of John Calvin sticking your head through the picture, is it haram or allowed to do that? Some people get very worked up about Christmas cards, sending Christmas cards. Am I allowed to send a Christmas card to my Christian friends? But it all depends on your intention. What is your intention? Is your intention to say to your Christian friends, Merry Christmas on your feast, in which you believe that Jesus is the Son of God, who died on the cross to redeem mankind? Well, clearly that's not what we would do as Muslims. If we don't believe that, it would compromise our own beliefs. So we don't say things that compromise what we believe. But it costs nothing to say to our Christian friends, Happy Feast. May God bless you on your feast. Where's the harm in that? Enjoy your Christmas celebration. Send them a card with a little robin redbreast on it, or a Christmas tree. Nothing to do with faith, it's a cultural thing now. And for the people who are religious, we wish them every blessing. That Allah will lead them to Himself. Where's the fault in that? For wishing that Allah Almighty would lead all people to Himself. So we mustn't fight battles where there are no battles to be fought. Save the battles for what's important. Save the battles for working with our friends in faith and fighting against abortion, the murder of babies in the womb. Let's fight that battle together. Let's fight the battle together of promiscuity and bad behavior and injustice in the world. Let's fight those battles together. But let's not fight over things that don't need to be fought about. Don't argue. People invite me to debate. I don't do debates. I did one once in Cambridge. They invited me to Cambridge University for a debate, and it was called This House Believes That Islam is a Threat to the West. And I thought to myself, that's such an easy one, I'll go to that. That'll be easy to do. And I thought as well, the audience, they're probably the brightest minds in the world, so I'll be speaking to a lot. So I went to this, and I had to dress up in evening dress with a bow tie and everything. It was all very formal. And it was really enjoyable, and they had some very terrible people speaking against me. Said awful things, really awful. The man who started, he hated Muslims, hated me. And he was shouting and talking, and his face was getting red, talking about these horrible Muslims. And when it was my turn to speak, and he was shouting, and I began in the chamber. I waited for a pause, so there was silence. And I began, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil. And then I was looking at, what's he saying? What is this? What's going on? And I said to them, look, if you've invited me here for a fight, you've picked the wrong man. If you, my dear friend, if you want to play games with religion, I put my hands up, you've won. I'm not interested in playing any games. All I've come here to tell you is that Islam is beautiful and gentle and sweet and isn't a threat to anyone. We won the debate easily. We won it easily. Because the people saw through the shouting and the nonsense. There's no need to argue. There's no need to be arguing and getting all worked up. No need. Why would we do that? Allah is in control. Why would we get all worked up over things? So respect. We need to respect people very much. So through stories, I hope I've given the message. I hope I've given the message that faith is important. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah. Let there be no mistake about that. My work at the moment, I'm heavily involved in speaking to religious leaders about the Christian presence in the Middle East after the so-called Arab Spring, because at the moment the Christians in the Middle East are frightened about their future. They're terrified about what the West, about Fox News, and is telling them about the rise of Islamism. And they're frightened that their future is not secure. So in my own small way, I'm involved in building bridges. So I was in Geneva at the World Council of Churches to talk about this. And that's why I'm going to the Patriarch this week, because he's issued statements about how afraid they are. And I just want to go to him and say, there's nothing to be afraid of. I gave a talk at a conference in the UK not long ago, and it was called Cherishing the Christian Presence in the Middle East. And it talks about how as Muslims we are the guardians of the Christian presence in the Middle East. And it is our duty as Muslims from our strength to protect the weakness of those who are finding it difficult to worship. I have an article on my website, idristawfiq.com, called Cherishing the Christian Presence, if you want to see that. And it goes through Muslim history. And it quotes from our beloved Prophet and so on. I want to finish with St. Catherine's Monastery again, wherever it was. Hold on one second. St. Catherine's Monastery. So the article begins by talking about the monastery itself. And that quotation, "O Moses, verily is mighty and mighty beyond life." And it finishes like this, and this is how I'll finish this evening, if we have our questions. So what then can we learn from this monastery at the foot of Mount Sinai? Is it merely an interesting curiosity, a relic of the past, or does it have a message for us today? Well, first of all, it reminds us that people of different faiths have lived together in peace in Egypt for the last 1400 years. It reminds us too that Amr ibn al-As guaranteed security to the Christians of Egypt when he conquered Egypt in 642, and that they've lived there peacefully since then. Where then does the notion come from, which is spread by many in the world, that Islam is a religion of intolerance? We've seen that Prophet Muhammad himself guaranteed the safety of the Christian monks of St. Catherine's, and there's even a mosque to this day within the monastery walls, whose key is entrusted to the local Bedouin tribesmen. The other message, though, which St. Catherine speaks to us, is that there are miracles around us every day, but we fail to notice them because we're too busy. The monk's life of contemplation reminds us that sunshine, rain, and the people around us are all blessings which we fail to recognize. We're just too busy to see them. If we ponder on what's really important in life, we, like Moses, would take off our shoes, realizing that the place on which we stand is holy ground. It is not just the religious places like mosques and churches which are holy, but all places, since they're all created by Allah. All the activities of life become opportunities to meet the Creator. Seen in this light, we're showered with blessings every day, but our lives are just too busy for us to see. The example of the monks of St. Catherine's, like the example of so many honest and simple people who pray each day, reminds us who it is that provides us with all these blessings. It is I, Allah, the Almighty.